21 minutes after 10 o'clock in the Mountain Time Zone, you are tuned into News Talk 1310 KFK's Amy Oliver Show, where I'm talking with House District 48 candidate, GOP candidate. The primary is to be complete by June 26th. I sent out an invitation to both candidates to be on the show. Jeffrey Hare is on right now. We'll continue that conversation. I have not heard back from Steve Humphrey. That invitation went out on May 24th. Jeff, I want to get back to you. You've also been criticized for not being, I guess, pro-life enough. Senator Ted Harvey wrote a letter about you saying you weren't pro-life enough, but the most pro-life person I know, Dennis Hoshiko, has endorsed you. How do you justify both of those?
That's a good question. I guess I'm not really sure where the Mr. Harvey's comments came from because I've never interacted with him. But I'm certainly.
So you've never you've never met Ted Harvey?
I have not.
Has
no.
He has never called you and asked you anything?
Nope.
Yet
Don't
he
know where
wrote
he
a
got his
letter
information.
about you.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, he wrote a letter about you.
Oh, I saw it. It was forwarded to me. It was not a true indication of where I am in the pro-life issue. There's no doubt about that.
So Dennis Hoshiko endorsed you because you are he told me you were helping him gather signatures for the Personhood Amendment.
That is correct. Yeah, I signed the Personhood Amendment early on when it first came out, right around the county assembly time back in February, if I remember correctly. And have been working on gathering signatures as well. I'm 100% behind the Personhood Amendment.
Okay, tell me about, and by the way, I also think that you scored exactly the same, didn't you, on the Colorado Christian Coalition? You and your opponent had the same, I think you answered the same if I read their website correctly.
It was actually the Colorado Right to Life survey, which is the one that we chose to respond to that was the most credible on the topic.
Oh, okay.
And I scored 9 out of 9, and I think my opponent scored 8 out of 9 on that.
Okay. So that's an interesting one. Just wondering why Senator Harvey would do that, because obviously you're pro-life. Maybe I'll ask Senator Harvey what the deal is with that. But let's get to another issue. Tell me about your philosophy on energy. I'm one of these. You were at the candidates briefing. You know, the Independence Institute's philosophy is, as free marketeers, we do not believe any energy source should be subsidized. Even though we live in natural gas, country, I don't believe in subsidizing any of those fuel sources, whether it's natural gas, coal, solar, wind, any of that. Where do you come down on the energy issue?
I'm 100% with you on that, Amy. I've certainly appreciated the leadership you've shown on this area in your show. I agree. I'm a fundamentally a free market guy. Energy is one of those issues that needs to stand on its own. And I don't know if you've seen the comments from the Vestas CEO that's come out in the last couple of days. It said if the federal subsidies weren't extended, that they lose 80% of their business, and that's certainly an indication that particular business isn't self-sustaining in the free market.
No, it's not. Not if they don't get that subsidy, that we've got a problem. And also, I look at that and I think, if you've got a business that cannot be sustained without that kind of federal subsidy, right now at the federal level, it's 40%. It's not, it's never going to be sustainable. It also ends up propping up other technology that will fail. Let me ask you this. Would you be willing to, or would you consider introducing legislation to roll back the renewable energy mandate to what voters approved in 2004? Right now it stands at 30%. Would you consider rolling it back to 10%?
Absolutely. I mean, to me, that is going to be a significant drag on job creation and family budgets in the next, in the foreseeable future. So that's something that absolutely would support rolling back. If we don't get a handle on that, we're going to see jobs, especially those that are dependent upon the energy sector, we're going to see those jobs leave Colorado en masse over the next 8 to 10 years. Absolutely,
yeah. And, of course, there's more information on that at energy.i2i.org. Let me ask you about another issue. Civil unions became certainly a huge topic in this legislative session. I often wonder why, when the Democrats had purchased the state legislature and the governor's mansion, they didn't pass it then. But now I know you get a good reason as to, or you can see why it happened the way it did. They didn't want to throw their own governor under the bus, Governor Bill Ritter, who said he wouldn't sign it in his first term. So looking to make that a wedge issue for Republicans. Where do you stand on civil unions? And I bring that up for a couple of reasons. One is that it's certainly one of the things that you've taken criticism about, and I think you're probably going to recognize this name. Luke from Johnstown called in with a question, wants to know why you supported civil unions and why you don't now. That's what that was. Did I have that right, Jennifer? Okay, Jennifer took the question off the air. Yeah.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, I have actually never publicly or privately supported civil unions, so I'm not sure where Luke got his information from. But I have done what a few candidates have done on this topic is published a very detailed position paper on my website called "On Civil Unions and the Definition of Marriage," where I lay out my strong opposition to civil unions, both from a defensive marriage perspective, but even more so from an economic perspective. I think the allowance of I call it an economic union outside of traditional marriage would be a disaster for both our state budget and have a significant impact on the private sector, forcing essentially another government mandate on private sector job creation.
Where can folks find that information about all of your position? What is your website?
So my website is hareforhouse.com, so it's HAREFOR house.com, and there's a link at the top on policies, and that leads to the policies page. And actually there's a dozen or so very specific policies that we have, and at the bottom of the page actually is civil unions. That's the one we've added most recently.
When you got into this race, you sought out advice from a number of people. Who did you talk to?
Well, I talked to a lot of people that are what are respected conservatives. You know, your husband John was a great ally, or not ally, but a source of information on the Second Amendment. Jim Eckersley is another guy that's a strong proponent, NRA guy. He's given me a lot of advice. Yourself on energy legislation and a variety of different things. And I believe to be an effective legislator, you have to get information from a variety of different people that are experts in their field. So I've sought out information on a variety of different topics across the spectrum to incorporate into my view and to get people's different perspectives on the topics.
Hey, would you be willing to hang on for one more segment? Because I want to talk about whether or not you've been able to have any kind of debates, or have you extended invitations to your opponent to have debates, and talk a little bit about the tone and tenor that this campaign has taken, which ultimately prompted me to get vocal about it. I hadn't intended to be involved. I was going to let you two sort of battle it out on the issues, and then it turned ugly, and really what I consider to be flat out untrue, when there is a guy standing on a street corner in a chicken suit holding a sign that says Hare hates guns. I'm going to be right here to tell you that is a flat out lie. That's just a lie. It's not accurate. How many guns do you own, by the way, Jeff?
I've got a few.
I think you have more than I do. I think you have more than we do at our house.
I think I do, and I don't want to say how many because I don't want to disclose how many John has, because I know you guys have made a public comment about that. But I've got more than John owns. Let's put it that way.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Then coming back real quickly, have you guys been able to have a debate or anything, or what has that been like? We'll continue our conversation. Just one more segment with Jeff Hare. Then we have to get to this date in history, 31 minutes after 10 o'clock in the Mountain Time Zone. Quick break, get an update from the 24-hour News and Weather Center.